And good afternoon. Welcome, everyone. My name is Norville Barrington. I'm the Vice President of Communications with the Metro New York chapter of the National Black MBA, also bccelerator Advanced Black Entrepreneurship, where we focus on business plans. I am honored today to have Hassan, Miah, the CEO of Paybby. We're going to get into Paybby. We're going to get into the Wicket by Paybby app, but we're here to talk about the world of crypto. Over the last, I would say, over the last 10 years or so, especially now in our community over the last, let's say, 3 or 4 years, cryptocurrency has been a big topic. Now, cryptocurrency can be unpacked in many different ways, but we're going to get into currency. We're going to talk about the background of crypto. We're going to get into blockchain. We're going to get into, the markets, NFTs. We're going to get into so many good information today. And again, this is a 2-part series. We're going to also, in our second part, we're going to get into some more information regarding cryptocurrency and its impact to the market and ultimately what you should expect. And thank you so much again for joining us on behalf of our chapter president, Andrew Hamilton, our executive board. Thank you so much for joining us today. For those of you who are new to National Black MBA Metro New York chapter, again, we're celebrating 51 years of excellence. We're celebrating 51 years servicing and supporting Black and Brown members to really ensure that we are impacting education, career, entrepreneurship, leadership, and lifestyle, all the elements that a professional needs in order to be successful on and out the office. Now, one thing I would say here is that as we celebrate 51 years, we're also taking the opportunity to delve into new opportunities to transform generational wealth. The business and money series is going to be focusing on new trends that are happening, not necessarily new maybe to the economy per se, but I would say new to us. Historically, as you look at the wealth gap is roughly about, we're still about 1% of wealth as a people. And this is a good opportunity to learn about new opportunities that are not only exciting, but we can get into. There are less regulations, less things are happening within the world, and we're going to get into that and more with our business and money series. If you do have any questions, please use the chat feature. We definitely want to get your questions answered as we go through this conversation with Hassan and Miah. And again, I want to introduce our special guest, Hassan Miah, who is the CEO and founder of Paybby. So before Hassan goes and introduce himself, I just want to just give a little bio about Hassan. Hassan is a guru, an expert, strategic advisor in technology, media, and artificial intelligence, blockchain, and finance. Hassan Miah is also the co-founder of Robin 8, which is a social e-commerce company. He was formerly director of investments at Intel Capital and consultant partner at KPMG, working on deals in entertainment and community banking. And that's where we're going to get into in terms of how banking and finance goes into cryptocurrency. He's a graduate of the University of Michigan with a BAA, and he's also an MBA from Stanford, the Stanford School of Business. He's also a CPA as well. So when you look at the combination between accounting, finance, technology, we have the right person to talk to us today regarding cryptocurrency. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce Hassan. Yes, Hassan, how are you doing today?
Very good. Thank you, Norville. Happy to be here.
Great. So we're going to get into we're going to get into so many things regarding your company, our company. This is my business partner. We're going to get into Paybby and the Wicket by Paybby app, and also the background regarding cryptocurrency. So this presentation, this conversation has been birthed by so many different things that have happened within the last year, and also what's been happening within our society, I would say within for hundreds and hundreds of years, which is the wealth gap. Now we're going to talk about the world of cryptocurrency. Now, Hassan, let's talk about present day, and then we'll backtrack in terms of, cryptocurrency, but tell us more about you and the Wicket by Paybby app.
Sure. So Paybby was started about a year ago with a primary focus on helping improve financial inclusion and provide the technologies that would make banking much more accessible, cheaper, and cheaper in the sense that you don't have to pay as much for more advanced services and smarter. So that was the whole purpose of the creation of Paybby. And as you mentioned, may have mentioned earlier, we started, and then we were fortunate enough to buy Wicket, which was an existing neobank. So even though we started less than a year ago, we were able to accelerate our entry into the market with an existing banking app that gives you checking, savings accounts. It gives you smart spending, all those things, all in the palm of your hand with a mobile phone. And so that's what we have, and we're continuing to build on that roadmap. And today, of course, we're talking about the cryptocurrency side of it.
Now, for those of you who do not have this app, it's a free banking app. We'll get into the details of the app, but we'll also talk about how this is going to ultimately change when we look at banking, especially as it relates to the Black and Brown community. Now, cryptocurrency, it is deemed as the worst thing that could ever happen to banking. It's deemed as a Ponzi scheme. It's deemed as, we don't know. So let's take a step back. Let's go back in history. Let's talk about currency, and let's talk about the introduction of cryptocurrency.
Sure. So, well, currency in itself is a medium of exchange. It's something where, thousands of years ago, people traded a cow for a goat or whatever they might have wanted. And then eventually they said, well, it'd be a lot easier if we had gold tokens and we agreed they're worth so much. And then eventually paper. And then finally, over the last several hundred years, the introduction of paper currency backed by government, they gave people the trust that it was worth so much. And that pretty much has existed all the way up until today, until the introduction of cryptocurrency. And cryptocurrency has changed everything in that it has created a system of technology based on blockchain that makes it possible for anybody and everybody transacting to know exactly everything that has been transacted, and it can't be changed. So the fact that you can see every single transaction without anyone ever in the history of cryptocurrency having the ability to actually change those numbers, then people trust it. And that's the core to the currency. The core to, as you mentioned earlier, Ponzi or whatever, all these other types of things. The key for currency is trust. That you believe that if you get a dollar bill and it says, in God we trust the US, that you can take it to any store. You trust that it will work. With a cryptocurrency, you trust that if you have 5 Bitcoin, that people believe that it's 5 Bitcoin because they see it in your wallet. And there's 100% trust on that.
So now, what's the difference between, when you talk about cryptocurrency in terms of the exchange and what it's backed under, versus currency that we're used to today, the dollar, the pound, the yen? So what's the difference? How should we be looking at what's backing cryptocurrency?
Sure. So government-backed currencies is the key word, is government-backed. They're also known as fiat currency. So with the US dollar, since we're here in America, we believe in it because it's backed by the full faith and credit of the United States government. Now, what that means is, to be honest, can be somewhat speculative. And the reason I say that, not that I'm putting it down, because obviously I believe, we all count on the US dollar, is that it's pinned to trust and faith that somehow the government will make good. But it doesn't say what the value, it doesn't say what $1 will buy you. That's determined by inflation and all those other things. And what makes that kind of funny is the exact amount of number of dollars that are in circulation is changing all the time. And it's speculative because the Federal Reserve is always printing dollars, or in other ways, they're pulling dollars out of the system. So it's very difficult actually to know exactly how many dollars are in circulation. But in spite of that, because it has so much, people use it all the time and they have so much faith in it, people stay trusted. They still trust it. Now let's compare that to cryptocurrency, to Bitcoin, for example, the original and most popular cryptocurrency. There are only 21 million Bitcoins in circulation from the beginning and forever. That will never, ever change. So that means that what that is worth, people can decide, and people can break it down to any number of subdivisions. So you could have 0.001 cryptocurrency. It doesn't have to, the number of decimals is actually, you typically stop counting at 18 decimals is sort of the standard within the industry. But a cryptocurrency sits on a ledger, and what's fixed is the number of those cryptocurrencies in existence, at least for Bitcoin. That type. There are there are other types where that doesn't necessarily hold true, but for Bitcoin it holds true, and there's only 21 million. So in many ways, Bitcoin is much more easy to ascertain what you have than with US dollars, because with US dollars, you don't really know what portion of all the dollars in circulation you have. But obviously, since everyone uses US dollars, you have 100% faith that you can always use it, right? You're not worried, oh, I can't, at one point, I can't take the dollars to the store. So that's what makes it so extremely powerful. And then in the case of the US dollar, it's even more powerful because it's the currency of the world. It's known as the world's reserve currency. So it has the full faith of not the US government, but pretty much has the full faith in the entire world who believes in the US dollar.
So now you talked about trust, and trust is always something that is always plagued, you know, the people across this world in terms of understanding, okay, how do you trust the market in terms of understanding how the market is going to go? But before we get into different currencies, let's talk about something that you mentioned. You mentioned a word called blockchain. Now, we want to make sure we break this down in such a way that it's easily digestible, but also understand how this leads to other conversations, future conversations in the money and business series. So let's talk about blockchain.
Sure. Blockchain is the breakthrough technologies that has enabled cryptocurrency, but it is actually much, much more than that. But essentially, blockchains, in the very simple terms, is think of an Excel spreadsheet that once you put the numbers in the spreadsheet, neither you nor anybody in the world can change the number. It's fixed forever. So every row and every cell in the whole spreadsheet is stuck forever. So what does that mean? That means that if you tell someone that I gave you five whatever, and I put it down on that ledger in that spreadsheet, no one will ever be able to say, no, you gave me three over two. So, and what makes it important is that everything on the blockchain is published. So not only can you see it, anybody and everybody in the world can see it. And that's technology is enabled by this ledger is reviewed by thousands of people for every transaction. The technical terminology is known as mining. You might have heard of Bitcoin mining and that type of thing. That's the process of people verifying that when someone put five in a cell in the ledger, 1,000 other people check it to make sure it's five before it's actually put in the ledger. And that's what makes it so powerful. The other part that makes blockchain so powerful is since it's all just math and it's in the computer only, those numbers put in the ledger are actually just hexadecimal symbols. So everything in the blockchain is completely anonymous. It's never associated with a name. It's never associated with a place. It's nothing more than a big computer program that's verified every transaction by thousands of other computers verifying the integrity of it. And that's what get the numbers. And when thousands verified to us 100%, that makes it possible for it to be completely anonymous. And yet, and since these computers are everywhere, they're decentralized, since anybody can add to their pool of computer verifying what's on the blockchain, that also makes it impossible for any single source to control a blockchain for a public blockchain.
So
You can
let's pause. So let's pause there for a moment. So now, with that being said, and that being the foundation, in your estimation, how do you see this has played out over the course of time? So we had individuals who were eager to jump on board and understand, hey, this is an opportunity. And then you had laggers, people who came, later adopters, who then came into play with a better understanding. So talk to us about that gap in between individuals who jumped on this early and now the talk of the town being cryptocurrency, understanding the blockchain aspect of it.
So, I was introduced to it several years ago, and Bitcoin, I think, was $100, and I didn't bother with it. I said, this is a great idea, but what is so something could be stuck on the ledger? What did it mean? Now Bitcoin's worth $30,000. I did later get excited by it, but at 19,000, it went down to 3,000. Then I got, I was obviously not too happy. But then the 3,000 went up at a peak to 64,000. In many ways, it's no different than the stock market. If you looked at, say, Amazon, that's created the world's richest man. You know, it was not unusual in the 90s when Amazon started. One day it'd be worth $6, the next day $100, and a week later back to $6. So this volatility is not unusual for new technologies and new ways of doing business that people are getting their head around. And but now we see how powerful the whole idea of online e-commerce is. And I predict similar things to happen with cryptocurrency and blockchain as the use cases expand, as people appreciate it more. So even though now they could say, you know, we're in a sort of a chilly season with crypto, it went down today, I think, you know, along with the stock market. You know, it's down to 30,000. It was 64,000 a couple months ago. That doesn't change the fact that these core principles are true. So that I think that the key is the underlying technology of blockchain and the power of crypto, which allows you to trade and to do things anonymously and move things from one ledger to another. So if I own a piece of Bitcoin, I'm just using that as the primary uh, cryptocurrency, I can move it anywhere in the world within a matter of at most minutes to anybody in the world, any place, from a village in Africa to a major city in China or India or in Europe or across the street. And it takes about the same time. It's the speed of computers, speed of the internet.
So with that being said, now you're talking about moving money, you're talking about blockchain, and now you see a number of different new parties and new players in the field here. Let's talk about how much money is out there in cryptocurrency. Not only what they're worth, but how is it created? Now, and I don't want to get into specific names per se. I don't want to, but when these cryptocurrencies are created, what are your thoughts in terms of how it impacts not only the current market, but also the appetite for the actual possible investor to say, hey, you know what, I want to go into it, but I don't really understand. I don't know if this is another a high and low. I don't know if I'm ready for the volatility. So let's talk about one, of course, the cryptocurrency, the landscape, how much they're worth, and then these new players who are coming in. And who are those players?
I think today, if I recall correctly, we might have a slide on that. If you look at Coin Market Cap, there are about over 5,700 tokens that are listed. And you can see the market cap is about $1.2 trillion. And so relative to, you know, the overall economy is relatively small, of which on the BTC, you see it's 46%. So about half of the total value of all crypto is Bitcoin. So that's what it's worth. But as you can see, there are over 5,700. The tech to create a cryptocurrency is nothing more than programming a blockchain. That's all it really is. So it is possible for anybody. I would imagine even a high school student now could create some type of cryptocurrency token, and there are a couple layers of cryptocurrencies in a matter of minutes or hours. So but what gives it value is people's belief that means of trading for value is worth something, and it will not go down, at least, and hopefully go up. So that's what so the biggest two is, say, Bitcoin and Ethereum, and they had two big innovations. You'll see here that Bitcoin's worth 576 billion and Ethereum's 212 billion. So Bitcoin's the original that was on blockchain. There's only 21 million in circulation. The circulating supply, it says 18.7 million, but it's about 21 million altogether. Circulating means what's the amount moving versus what they say that never moves. Circulating supply of Ethereum is about 116 million. The reason they're number two, and the second big innovation was called the smart contract. So the other thing you can do with blockchain, since everything's on the ledger, is that you can create call it a legal contract, but it's not necessarily legal, but you can create a contract and put it inside the cryptocurrency and tell it to do things. Like tell it that I agree that in a year I will give 5 Ethereum to anybody that holds this token. And it automatically does it. Anybody that holds the token. That's known as a smart contract. So the first big innovation was Bitcoin with the creating the crypto itself. The second innovation was Ethereum with the idea of a smart contract. That's a hugely powerful concept. Because think about it, you could put every legal contract in the world inside a blockchain, and then all of a sudden you don't need all this paperwork and file cabinets and all that stuff. That all becomes possible. And then the third one on here is it's sort of cut off here, maybe on the next page with the other. There are a couple. Coin Market Cap is the biggest. You know, there are two big ones that actually report what the market prices are. CoinGecko is the other one. The third one is Tether. That's USDT. So USDT you see is a dollar, and that's where it's backed by a basket of cryptocurrency, and the people who are managing it, or they're not the people that actually as part of the smart contract, they buy and sell. You see the lines go up and down not on that. That's the supply, such that they always keep the price stable at $1. So that's known as a stable coin. So there's Bitcoin, the original, there's Ethereum with the smart contract, and there's Tether, which is what I call the stable coin. Those are the three basic types of cryptocurrencies. There are a lot of other cryptocurrencies, but those are sort of the core types of which all of the cryptocurrencies actually have some aspect of either Bitcoin or Ethereum, mainly Ethereum now. And then Tether is the way to stabilize how you get stable value out of owning the crypto.
And and we're going to get to Q&A. We're going to go to Q&A shortly. Those who have questions, you can kindly raise your hand, or you can put your question in the Q&A, and then I'll go ahead and read it. We'll get Q&A very shortly. So before we go to Q&A, the first Q&A session we have, let's talk about some other terms that we believe that are very important to understanding cryptocurrency and in this new world that we're entering in.
Okay, so I think we talked about blockchain a little bit, and so blockchain, blockchain is created with this the system with ledgers, but again, that's a programming term. So there, any group of mathematicians or scientists or whatever you want to call them, computer scientists can create a blockchain. They call it a protocol. So and they can create their own blockchain. And so you'll see thousands of blockchains on that Coin Market Cap or CoinGecko, and what a lot of those are original blockchains. On top of the blockchain, they create the cryptocurrency. So the cryptocurrency is a use case of a blockchain, and that's where you create a currency denomination with so many with so many of them in supply, and may or may not have smart contract, and that's cryptocurrency. On top of it, you have something called a crypto token. So that 5,700, if you look at on that CoinGecko or Coin Market Cap, many of those are not their own blockchain protocol. You'd have to go to the site to see the rest of them. They're not a protocol in and of itself, but they are made from a protocol, the core blockchain. The most popular crypto tokens are made using Ethereum by far. The vast majority of crypto tokens. So that's where you use a cryptocurrency to build a cryptocurrency on top. And that cryptocurrency on top has a smart contract tied to a use case. So the use case could be anything. It could be for entertainment, it could be for mining, it could be for banking, it could be for, you pick the use case. And that's the whole idea behind the token. So that's that. And so but they're all types of currencies. So I'm going to get into one other thing really quick, and that is, how do you determine the value, and what is sort of the logic of value? And we get into the concept called tokenomics. And so you could have something that has a protocol and a crypto and build a cryptocurrency on top of it, and it may never get that much value because you never develop a use case for it where that many people care, since anybody could build one. Or you can have a token and you've developed what I call really good tokenomics, meaning that if in order to engage in buying or selling the services that of say this vendor, they require to use their token, then you automatically, people want to, you could have an artist. I'm just making this up. And he says, you can only go to my show if you buy my token. So then people buy the token, and then some people might buy just to go to the show. Other people may buy extra and pay more money because they think that person is going to be a superstar. Say, oh, he's only playing in a bar right now with 20 people. But I think this guy, so he's going to be Drake one day, right? Or he's going to be Jay-Z or Beyonce. So I'm going to buy everything. I'm going to bid the price way up. So when he becomes that way and millions of people want him, I'll sell it to them at a much higher price because they won't get access to these shows unless they own that token. And that token may be an Ethereum token with a smart contract that says only good for if you are going to a Jay-Z concert. So that's the tokenomics behind that. Okay, so that's the and then we'll talk about NFT in a moment, which is actually is a blockchain type of token, but it actually has a different meaning within the in many ways it's the same, but also it has a different legal meaning and use case. And that's why, and also on the left side, cryptocurrency and crypto token for the most part are like dollars or euros. They're fungible. You can pass them back and forth, and no one cares $1 versus another. They just look at how many dollars you have. That's known as fungible. $1 is the same as any other dollar. On the right side, NFT stands for non-fungible token, which means everyone is marked. So they're not the same. And
before we go into NFTs, I'm gonna give an opportunity. If you have a question, please use the Q&A feature or indicate by raising your hand, and I'll let you answer your question audibly. So please, if you have any questions, please, it's a good opportunity before we continue on. Again, it's a lot of information, but want to simplify it. And if I took a stab, if I had no knowledge of this, think about going to arcade, think about currencies, think about you purchasing tokens, you winning prizes, and ultimately you having tokens, and the tokens being a value of something that the store or the arcade or the fair says, hey, this is what the actual token is. And we're going to try to simplify it as well, but also keep it at a place where ultimately you understand, you're easily able to communicate this. Another thing that is important here is that how it's being used and how you determine it. So ultimately the value is determined by, the market itself. If I say, hey, if I get 4 tokens by winning this game, and I'm going to simplify because it's not cryptocurrency, but it's currency. These 4 tokens are, if I win this prize, gets me X amount of tickets, and these tickets are worth this teddy bear. If you think about it from that logic, it makes it easier to digest, but we want to make sure that you not only have this information, but you're able to now apply, because we're going to get into application. Of course, part 2, we're going to talk about, the future of retail and things of that nature. But again, any questions, please feel free to use the chat feature. We want to answer your questions now. Otherwise, we'll continue on. But if you do have any questions at any point in time, we will go ahead and get you on either audibly, or I'll read out your questions. So let's continue on with NFTs. Now, you started talking about NFTs. Now let's talk about this, because it is another concept, either via social, you're seeing a craze about NFTs and the NFTs worth this amount and what the NFT can do. Let's talk about NFTs, and let's talk about what you see going on with NFTs and where you believe the future of NFTs are going to go.
Sure. So an NFT, I mentioned that cryptocurrency is fungible in general. There are some exceptions. Where $1 is any other dollar, one Bitcoin same as any other Bitcoin. NFT means non-fungible, which means they're marked, they're unique. Every crypto token is distinguished from any other token, and that's what non-fungible mean. They're not interchangeable. The value of that is that you can put things in it inside the smart contract or in that little unit of blockchain, such as you could put art in it, you could put photos, you could put anything, and then people would say, oh, I want that piece, or it could represent, if I own this is my representation that I own this painting or something like that. And so you have, it's sort of like a deed that you can prove with
So let's pause there for a moment. Now, historically, the National Black MBA has always focused on wealth, and one form of wealth is by art. Now, when you mention the worth of, or the actual contract of a painting, are you suggesting that if a painter, an artist decides that this particular work is 13,000 in currency, let's call it 13,000 Bitcoins or 13,000, whatever that number is, whatever that currency is, it is locked in that number and cannot move up or down. If that's the case, then how is it then changed?
No, I'm not suggesting that at all. What I'm
Okay.
suggesting is whatever you put in there can never be changed. So if you're an artist, you could say, I'm going to put inside this token, I'm going to put my piece of art in this token. And only if you have this token, you can actually print it. And you have a print of the original. No one else can print it because you're the only one has it. So, and then you could even tell that smart contract that I can only print in 3 of them. Right. So you know how sometimes you have, if it's a great piece of art, they have, silk screens or whatever, where you have number versions, and the number versions can be valuable too. The original's worth something. So that's a use case of the NFT. So the value of that depends on what the value of what that core piece of art is that's embedded within that NFT. So an artist can all of a sudden put their song, for example, or their beats or their lyrics in there, and someone would pay for it, and later someone says, I think those lyrics are going to be used a lot, and I'd pay a lot of money to own them because of what I could do with them. So that's how that. So they think of an NFT in a traditional sense, since we're honest, is baseball trading cards. Baseball trading cards. You've seen them so far. Oh, you have those, Norville? Oh wow!
Yeah, I have, my collection is pretty deep.
Right.
Going back to Sky Black's Flair, Upper Deck.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, there you go. And some of them are not worth much more than you pay for them. Others are worth a lot more, right? Even though, any Upper Deck card was made, same construction by Upper Deck. It's the player and that type of thing. So NFT is actually nothing but a digital version collectible. But since it's a computer program, you can make it smart. So that card you have, it's stuck in paper. Imagine if you had, and on top of it, that card, your Upper Deck card, you could wave your finger and all of a sudden you can pull out and make something change on it because you had that right. That becomes possible with a digital version of a baseball card, but it's still a baseball card, so to speak. And its value is who wants that particular, player, right? Is it, it's the very first card that, made for Jackie Robinson. That's going to be a lot more than, a recent new, draftee, who knows how they end up doing. So,
And and for everyone, for entrepreneurs here that are on the call here, think about the opportunities that you have. Think about the businesses that you have, the lifestyle business that you have, and how this can play a part into this. So we want you to kind of start exploring this. We'll get into this, soon, in terms of the impact to small businesses and ultimately what this will do for, generating wealth, and ultimately making sure that you have a piece of the pie, and in this way you're able to now play a game where you're now in a different playing field, like with others as well. So think about this as it relates to some of the things that you're thinking about. How can this be incorporated? Now, with that being said, when it comes to NFTs, I know that there's various apps, there are various ways that we should be looking at NFTs and also different types of currency. Talk to us about what we see on the screen here.
So in NFTs, there's if you go back to the coin market cap, you'll see there's cryptocurrency. There's a column called NFT on the coin market cap, one before that. So you'll see it says cryptocurrency exchanges and NFT. So NFT is a completely different thing than cryptocurrency, and exchanges are different. So you go forward to Bakery Swap, because one's a collectible, others considered a cryptocurrency, even though they're both built on blockchain. So the question becomes, if you have a piece of art, how do you figure out, how do you sell it? How do you price it? And how do you, if you decide you want to sell it again, how do you determine, how do you put it up for sale? So think of, a swap meet, so to speak. And that's where the name Bakery Swap comes into play. So that's where this is one where you can see minted NFT and you can see bake price. So this bake is a cryptocurrency created by Bakery Swap, which is the left side of what I showed you before. And what they said, in order to buy and sell NFTs, which is digital art or digital collectible non-fungible tokens, you can only do that using Bake or their cryptocurrency as the currency. So their whole tokenomics, their model is people are going to want to hold, are going to pay more for their tokens as they get more valuable NFTs because they need more Bake crypto tokens in order to buy the NFTs they want. And so Bakery Swap is merely a place where people can buy and sell NFTs, but they must use the Bake token. I know that's a mouthful, but I hope that hope that helps.
No, it definitely helps. Now, no, now when we look at this particular market and also how to actually purchase cryptocurrency, I know that we're going to get into that. Now, what are some of the ways that you can get into cryptocurrency? And I know this slide here kind of just shows, the assets in terms of the various assets on. I believe this is yours, correct?
Yes. So this
Yeah.
is so Toki is a new cryptocurrency that's focused on. It's actually a vendor that makes NFTs, and they're
Okay.
doing it for prominent artists. Like right now, they're coming out with a series called Masterminds of Hip Hop, where they're taking a lot of the original hip hop artists and they're giving their original art and they're converting them into NFTs. They'll put them on NFT marketplaces, and then in order to buy them, you have to use their token. That's their tokenomics. A BNB, for example, is Binance. Is the Binance token. And for those who you don't know, the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange is Binance. So if you were to get on that CoinGecko, you would notice that the fourth most valuable cryptocurrency is BNB. That's because they're an exchange where you can buy and sell cryptocurrency. So that's the good news. The bad news is Binance has limited available, and we can get into the legal in a minute, but they have limited availability in the US. For example, they're not allowed in New York or Texas and a few other states. And then the reason, because the exchanges for buying and selling cryptocurrency is regulated only on a state by state basis. So that's a big part of this whole market and how it's changing. So the second part, you want to get in the economy? So the second part here is our Wicket by Paybby app. If you could just quickly, I'll just do that real quick if you don't mind. And that is, okay, wherever you are here. So, okay, so what we're talking about is, so the first thing is, we're saying the cryptocurrency is a new type of asset class. That new asset class, you can decide to invest. If you do want to invest, you want to do it in a way where one, you understand what you're invested in. Two, you can buy and sell. And three, it's sort of easy to understand. So that's where Wicket by Paybby, we're building those features into our product where you can automatically save like you're saving your, doing saving for cash, saving in the stock market. We're creating those tools to make that possible. And then we're also building the platform to make it possible for you to buy these things in the way that becomes easier for everyone. For example, if you look at that slide about Bakery Swap or even Binance, you can't buy it. You can't use a debit or credit card. You can only do it using another token. And you're like, well, how do I buy that token? Well, you have to go to Coinbase when it accepts dollars, and then you have to change it. Then you got to move it from one wallet to another, and then if you want it on Bakery Swap, that wallet is where you store your crypto. You have to connect it to a swap meet, and there's a lot. There are layers. They're not the hardest in the world, but it does take some training. So our goal is to integrate crypto investments and make it into a smart, easy to use type of thing. That's what we'll focus
on. So now, so let's talk. So let's stay there. Let's talk about now how cryptocurrency has disrupting the finance market as we talk about the economy now. Now, what have you seen over the course of some time now as relates to currencies, banking, online banking, and now cryptocurrency, actual currency now being involved in playing this game?
So with cryptocurrency, as I mentioned earlier in this presentation, you can send a crypto anywhere in the world in a matter of minutes, So instead of using Western Union to send your friend some, $100 worth of pay them $100 in Singapore, you can just you can just go in there and shoot it to them on your from wallet to wallet, and that's it. In a matter of minutes, he has it. And you've avoided the entire government system. You invited the banks. You could actually do it anonymously since it's never associated with a name, so no one needs to know. Or you can use a big exchange like a Coinbase or whatever and do the same thing. But the tracking is a little bit more on Coinbase because they see your transaction. And incidentally, everything you do, since it is the equivalent of a currency, there is a taxable effect. There is a legal side to it. So you're supposed to report everything that you do with cryptocurrency, but you can do it with or without letting the government know. In certain cases, you're always supposed to let them know. But in any event, whether you let them know or not, it's seamless. You don't, right now, if you want to send money to Mexico or something like that, you got to pay a $30 money transfer fee or whatever. Money. If you use crypto, you could do it for virtually pennies and do it within seconds, and you don't have to leave your computer. That's disruption. Over $1 trillion in value already. So a lot of money is flowing back and forth around the world, completely anonymous.
So we see online banking being new, and you in terms of how people are managing their accounts, how people are transferring money from one to another, right? You have that peer to peer, but now you have a different currency. So now, when you look at how a person should approach cryptocurrency as it relates to purchasing power, I know we're going to get into now stores and different markets are going to be looking to accept cryptocurrency. We've seen the market go up and down based on what Elon Musk says in terms of accepting crypto for Tesla and things of that nature. But what should we be doing now to get ready for the next phase? Because there's gonna be a couple different phases of this, and from what I understand here, we're really at the infant stages of what's going to be a huge market. So what should we be really considering right now as it relates to cryptocurrency, storing cryptocurrency, managing, purchasing it? What should we be really looking at right now?
There's a lot happening with crypto, right? It's a whole new way of currency. I mean, China's already announced that the Chinese central bank digital currency, and other countries will be announced. So the U.S. is working on it. So I anticipate that in several years down the line, you won't even have dollars. It'll all be cryptocurrency, even in America. So that's going to come. Why? Because it's more efficient. It lowers costs. It's faster, better, cheaper. It can do a lot. It can do a lot of things. You can put smart contracts in it. You don't have to have a bunch of lawyers doing all the paperwork. That's things that could be changed. A lot more efficiently. So the lawyer does it once and makes a contract out of it. So there's so many powerful use cases that are continue to emerge. So what should you do now? Well, one, you got to start getting your feet wet. You want to start getting on that train of crypto. So that's one. So I would suggest you start with getting a small cryptocurrency account, and then you buy, a small amount. I personally started with $25. I did just to, learn a wallet. Then I bought a little hardware wallet, and I figured out how to do the addresses. So I started very slow. But you won't have to do a lot of that for long because there's going to be companies like Paybby. We're going to make it simple. We're working right now with our team to add all this stuff. So a lot of these steps, like everything else, where it was a lot of steps in the past, you make them disappear. But to the extent that you're involved, it's very valuable. And then when you look at things like NFT, for example, Black culture, a lot of our culture has gotten lost and it's been exploited by others, and they make a lot of money on it. So your whole family collection and heirlooms and all these things can be valuable. What's going on I'm personally from the city of Detroit, and I was talking to a big player there, and they were telling me, oh, they're like, I was on Mount Elliott, the street in Detroit, and I heard it's historical. I said, yeah, that's that was where the beginning of where they forced all these Black people to live, and there's all these artifacts that are super valuable. All those things could be captured and put into an NFT, and we can control our culture, putting aside whether they'll be worth a lot or not. So that there's so many things that you could do. So I would say it's sort of like when the digital camera came out and you had all your paper photos and you're like, oh man, I better digitize these things, right? Now you don't think about digitizing, you're like, well, how do I store them, right? So it's the same thing. We can start collecting our things, we can start putting them on NFT, we can start learning how to use them on exchanges. And I suggest we get on that train now. And then as these new use cases happen, we'll be more familiar and we'll develop our own ideas of how to create value out of them as an MBA, so to speak.
So now we've talked about the foundation of cryptocurrency. We've talked about the value. We talked about the market and the economic impact. There's so much more that we're going to get into. I know that you mentioned that the Wicket by Paybby app is going to be able to now manage this coming in the future. Correct? Just a little touch on that again.
Sure. So the first thing we're doing is that we started a campaign to do airdrops. Airdrops it's sort of like bonus rewards where we give it to you just for participating. But one reason banking and cryptocurrency are so related, because they're both banking on one level, right? It's storing value, right? It's like a bank account, but it's a digital bank account. So they're like close cousins on that level. The second part of it is custodian. Custodian is when you put $100 in the bank, you pretty much don't worry about it. I mean, there's no running the banks anymore because it's FDIC insured. So it's the same thing. It's a custodial part of it. So we have to build, and we're building custodial type of capability for making that possible for people to get trust in it. And then the third part of it is we're making it easy. And again, this is technical. This is software development, but in the end, you shouldn't have to see that. You shouldn't have to see what's under the hood of your car. You should just be able to make it work. So that's what we're building right now. So we've already started. We're giving away for people who join our crypto program. We're going to give them crypto, and then we're also building out the whole capability for people to buy crypto, to save it, and to exchange it. And I expect it to be the first version to be ready, and knock on wood, sometime by the end of August.
And not only do you have crypto that's coming out, but you also are managing US currency as well. So you're able on this app to integrate some of your other banking, external banking accounts on this app, along with having the Wicket by Paybby account as well. So it looks like from a currency perspective, cryptocurrency, US currency, managing both the dollar and also crypto, and then being able to use this app, it looks like you'll be able to pretty much have everything at your fingertips. Just full disclosure, I'm a partner in the business, and I also you also get a free debit MasterCard as well, so you can use it just like any other card. You're able to budget. You're able to pretty much manage all your various accounts. And the capabilities for Black and Brown community it's second to none. And the biggest thing I would say here, as we talk about the opportunities within cryptocurrency and also banking, it's free. So when you look at the opportunities in terms of the overcharge fees and things of that nature, one of the reasons why I want to make sure that we brought this to you is because it's not only about crypto, but it's about currency. Crypto is going to be one big player in this. We want to make sure that you're a part of this, but also understand what do you do with your dollars and how are you rewarded for ensuring that you are, as you're making regular debit purchases, how are you how are you a beneficiary of your own purchases? So what I recommend here is go to Wicket, wicket.com, download the free app. It's available to you. You'll get your debit MasterCard in about 3 days. And ultimately, you'll be able to start using your bank account, free bank account, and also being able to manage your accounts using the Wicket app. Now, I do have a question here regarding NFTs. So what are some advice in terms of reliable NFTs in terms of sites that you would recommend?
I mentioned the Bakery Swap, there's Pancake Swap. You can see them on there right now. There are new ones coming out all the time. The one of the biggest is Binance NFT, but unfortunately, it just got excluded from the US. So it's a relatively new area. There's really not that many that are out there. So on the NFT, and we will have one too. We're primarily focused on like now we're working with Tokenomics because they're working with a lot of number of Black artists. Wicket and Paybby, we're very focused on the recirculation of capital within our community. One reason banking is not unfair to us is because they tend to the KYC or allow us to get a bank account at about 1/3 the rate, 1/3 less than what they allow non blacks, or white people to get it. And a lot of that is the algorithms they use, the credit scoring systems they use, and other things have systemic racism. So we're about creating alternative systems that will increase our access to banking and making it freer. And then once we have the cash, instead of taking it to a Chase or a Wells Fargo and they give it away to someone else, we have the ability to recirculate it within our community. And so we intend to do the same thing by making people aware of NFT products so that they can bring that value to our community.
And I mean, I'm glad you mentioned that. And we're going to also answer some questions. There's some Q&A. We see a couple questions popping up here. Any thoughts in terms of gaming NFT and what the future holds? We know gaming has just changed from, I had TurboGrafx 16. I mean, I can tell you all the different games that I've had, the consoles that I've had, but what are your thoughts in terms of on gaming and NFTs and what the future is?
That's an explosive growth area. There's so many ways in which gaming is, NFTs are being added to gaming, how you can earn them, how they change in value, the smart contract. Today, I just got a whole new proposal on how to do it. So we're very, I mean, it's so creative. It's blowing my mind on trying to even keep up with it. I will say one thing, and what we're doing, the biggest caution flag, if I had to say it, is that I mentioned, unlike stock market, which is regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission, or the banking, which is regulated by the OCC and the Federal Reserve, cryptocurrency is not regulated nationally. It's only regulated state by state, and even those regulations are tenuous. So all these things become possible, but as you build them, it's a shifting landscape all the time. So that's one thing that we all are being mindful of, and particularly in gaming, because sometimes there's a thin line between gaming and gambling. One's okay, the other is not necessarily okay, or you trip into different laws. So and that's a core part of what we're doing at Paybby, is we're trying to introduce things that are safe and that will, that you gain comfort that they're not going to fall on the wrong side of some of these regulations, not intentionally, but that would have an impact on value.
Thank you for that. And I have another question here. So given the high energy cost of Bitcoin mining, does it make sense to invest heavily given that the countries such as China might be shutting down Bitcoin mining?
Well, if they shut down Bitcoin mining, that makes it more valuable elsewhere, right? It would just move. It's really a matter of the cost of electricity. I would say one big concern is there a more environmentally better way to do it? So people know why is Bitcoin mining expensive and why is it related to electricity? Remember I said every time there's a transaction, thousands of computers have to verify it 100%. So if thousands of computers have to verify every transaction, the computers have to be on, so they're burning electricity. So the more popular it becomes, the more electricity is being burned. And if you live like where I do in New York, electricity is very expensive. It's very high. But if you're in, say, up in, say, near Washington, like near Seattle, where there's these big mountains in the water, they get hydro power, or at least before this global warming year, the cost of electricity is like 1/10 of here. So they can Bitcoin mine much cheaper. So what they're looking at now is there are more environmentally friendly ways to do this massive computer verification methodologies that are environmentally friendly. And I think they'll emerge, but right now that's a big challenge.
So based on that, where do you see some of the synergies here in terms of from a political, a government aspect as relates to government and Bitcoin as relates to bringing in impacts to energy, impact to either environmentally friendly ways for currency to operate? Where do the synergies are? Is the government late in this game? I think we're all late, but is the government really late in terms of getting a hold on this before it gets out of hand? And now they're kind of backing into this?
As I mentioned earlier, all governments are going to go digital currency because it's more, digital as everything we're doing is, having a phone is more efficient than the old fashioned way of picking up your phone and operator. So that's definitely going to happen, and we'll continue to get better battery technologies, more efficiency, and all that. Having said that, government is challenge is always how can you move government at the speed of technology? That's always been a big challenge. And so I think the big challenge we have in this country as well as other is how do we create regulations and policy that help protect people while not of, affecting innovation, nor picking winners or losers, or nor excluding us, because we tend to, right now, in order to offer a cryptocurrency exchange, you need a cryptocurrency license in most states. So you have to go apply besides the cost and all that. So that's a barrier to entry. And there, I don't know of one black cryptocurrency exchange at the moment, and that's partially a economics issue in terms of we don't tend to get venture capital, right? Only 1% goes to black, so that's a big barrier to entry. And then you want to lay on top of that the regulatory barrier to entry in terms of making it through the whole regulatory part of it. So that can become an issue. But I think on the positive side, policy can can help us because we can be involved in talking to our Congress people and others and the types of policies that will be more inclusive. And that should help us as this immense change happens. And this happened at a very rapid rate. The whole idea of finance, we're working with some companies and the whole way we're thinking of how banks interact with companies is changing dramatically. It's before, now you can stick your card up there and it automatically beams your money. It's going to be way more than that. That's just the beginning.
Now, this question here kind of goes to the appetite and the volatility. What are two things we need to consider when evaluating the legitimacy and the value of a cryptocurrency?
One, so the largest cryptocurrencies is sort of like the largest stocks. So think of it as the stock market, right? You have the major stocks, and you think your return's going to be whatever, it's going to fall within a range. It won't be as high as sort of these really speculative stocks, but you probably won't lose as much as the speculative stocks. So that's the big cryptos, the Bitcoins, the Ethereum. You have the stable coins that don't change in value, but even all of them are relatively, volatile because we're at an infant stage. At the same time, you have all these newer, smaller cryptos. There's thousands of them, as I said. So that's what takes research. That's like being a stock analyst, right? And so that's like, doing the Robin Hood game where you pay so many dollars and, you diversify and you do. So it's like an investment portfolio analysis. And then within that portfolio analysis, you look at them and you do fundamental analysis, right? And we're, it's just the MBA session. And then you look at which ones do you think have better fundamental economics? We call it tokenomics, right? Where the way in which they think they can grow the value of it is good. They're in the right market. The way in which they're going to create, limit the supply of crypto is good. The way they're going to suck in the supply when they get too much out there is good. So you have to make those evaluations too.
Now, before we close here, just want to get some final thoughts here before we kind of preview our second session. So some final thoughts regarding the beginning part of this series regarding cryptocurrency. Just some last thoughts before we transition into a preview of what we're going to talk about next week or next session.
So I think we're going to go into the crypto economy next session. I think the first thing, as I mentioned, the first thing everyone should do is you have to get, the simplest, get a Coinbase or just make a very small investment. The second thing is get what I call a cryptocurrency wallet. Interesting term. A wallet is sort of a digital version of having a wallet in the back of your pocket. And there are a number of so you can look up cryptocurrency wallet, and there are a few popular ones like MetaMask and Ledger and others. So I would get familiar with those type of things as a starter, and then third, I would start looking at the exchanges and following what they're doing. And then next we can get into projects like the NFT projects and that type of thing. And with those, it's sort of like stock market. How do you invest in the stock market? How do you look at stocks? What does it mean? You know, right now Robinhood out here is getting ready to go public at, I forgot, $15 billion, that type of thing. So, you know, there's a whole investment opportunity here, both in the investment and what it means, and same with, it's the same with cryptocurrency.
Now, for those of you again who want you to take a chance, I mean, take a look at the Wicket by Paybby app. It's free. Please download it, check it out. Good, great mobile banking app again, which will have cryptocurrency by the end of the summer. Again, you'll be able to use it and be a part of the new banking digital revolution, as this particular company focuses on Black and Brown impact in terms of financial empowerment. One thing I would say here is that what's going to come out along with the cryptocurrency, you're also going to see opportunities for you to learn more about banking. So as relates to currency banking, you're not going to have to go far. That information and those resources will be on the app as well. So look out for those resources as you're using financial tools, being able to have a financial tool that'll be able to teach you and show you what the impact of the decisions are going to be, and also give you some background information. So you're not going in blindly, and ultimately you're learning by using the app that's also hosting your funding, being able to budget, and also using it in such a way where you're able to ultimately benefit from using a Black-owned app. Our company, Wicket by Paybby, and the Paybby company is minority Black-owned, and we want you to be part of the banking revolution. Go visit wicket.com and be able to download your free app, and also get your get your MasterCard available to you in about 3 days. Now, August the 9th, we're going to talk about the future of banking and currency and purchasing. Now, this is part of our Business and Money series. Now we're going to talk about the impact to purchasing power and how that's going to impact not only banking conversion rates, income, how we look at using money, the evolution. We're just getting started. We're going to cryptocurrency. So this is an opportunity for you to do some of your own research as well. We want you to go ahead and look at opportunities for you to educate yourself, but also as you look at these opportunities, how does this apply to not only your investments, not only how you're looking at currency and money, but ultimately, what does it mean for your small business? What does it mean for opportunities for you to advance in terms of wealth? So Hassan, thank you so much for joining us today. We want to thank everyone for joining. We have a couple of announcements. Hassan, thank you so much, and we'll see you on August the 9th.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your time. Thanks, everyone.
We want to thank Hassan again for his time and breaking down cryptocurrency. We have a couple of announcements here. For those of you who are looking to go into opportunities for career opportunities, we want to just announce here that we have a career fair that's coming up. There's several career fairs and expos that are coming up on September the 9th. We have our virtual career fair, which is going to be from noon to 3, which is sponsored by the National Black MBA Metro New York chapter. We're going to have a number of different companies from a corporate partner perspective, and also we're going to give you an opportunity for face-to-face interviews. If you're looking to enter the market or looking to go transition to a new opportunity, I would implore you to get ready for this career fair, which is September the 9th. For those of you who are going to our national conference, this is a great opportunity to come home. We're going to Chicago, the birthplace of the National Black MBA. We're celebrating again our 51st year. It's a time to renew, refresh, and reset. Our in-person conference will be September the 14th to the 18th in Chicago, Illinois. And for those of you who are also looking for opportunities to connect and cannot connect in person, we're going to have a virtual career fair, which is going to be September the 21st to the 22nd. So the month of September is going to include 2 virtual career fairs, one from the national, one from our chapter, NYBLACKMBA, Metro New York chapter of National Black MBA. We also have a national conference, which digitally is going to happen September 21st to the 22nd. For those of you who are going to join me in person in Chicago, and the rest of our executive and leadership team, we welcome you to join us if you can. This is a wonderful time to connect with a number of companies in person, connect a number of resources that will be available to you. And leading up to this conference, we will have a 5-part series to get you prepared for both the digital and the in-person conference. Again, if you can attend, go to our website where you can find a link to register for our national conference. You can also go to our national site as well to go ahead and register, and we'll send the information out to you as well. Lastly, in regards to the Business and Money Series and Entrepreneurship, we have our 3rd annual Entrepreneur Accelerator Summit presented by National Black MBA, Metro New York Chapter, and bccelerator Advanced Black Entrepreneurship. This will be a hybrid conference. We'll be able to connect on a number of different fronts, from healthcare to the green industry, and also opportunities for supply diversity and government contracting. So we're doing something exciting and new, again, focused on healthcare, government contracting, supply diversity, for those of you who are looking to get contracts with major corporations in city, state, and federal. And also green. Green includes biotech, cannabis, green energy, and a number of different new technologies that are going to change the way we're going to look at entrepreneurship. This 5-day conference will be digitally. It will be a hybrid approach, 4 days digitally with a resource virtual fair, and a 1-day in-person, where we're going to honor a number of entrepreneurs that has been doing excellent work for our community for the last number of years. So again, more information about that. It's going to actually be in the last week in October, not November. So more information to come on that. Again, it's a 5-day conference. We want you to join, and we'll send information out on that note. So again, my name is Norville Barrington. On behalf of our chapter president, Andrew Hamilton, our great chapter president, Andrew Hamilton, our executive board, we want to thank Hassan, Miah, the CEO of Paybby. We want to thank all of you for joining us for this session, the introduction session of understanding cryptocurrency and the world of cryptocurrency. My name is Norville Barrington. Thank you so much. We look forward to servicing you and providing information that will help you transform generational wealth. So thank you so much. Look out for more announcements from our chapter, and have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Thank you.